Welcome to the Savvy Ventures Show, connecting you with noteworthy industry changemakers, movers, shakers, and innovators from around the world. From CEOs, executives, and other titans of industry to entrepreneurs, inventors, professional athletes, authors, chefs, and other thought leaders. You'll hear from power players across industries, here to inform, enlighten, and entertain. All of this, plus travel and shopping, hot picks, and so much more. And now, here's your host, Merilee Kern.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Savvy Ventures, where we connect with titans of industry, celebrities, artists, and a wide array of thought leaders, and also showcase amazing travel destinations and hot product picks. I'm Merilee Kern, and today's show is another great one. Coming up, we'll be connecting with the incomparable Julia Haart from the wildly popular Netflix series, My Unorthodox Life, to talk about her newest business endeavor, as well as her charity work and a bunch of other great stuff. We'll also be connecting with Alloway, known as the villain on Bravo TV's The Real Housewives of Toronto. She's just authored a new book and is here to tell us all about it. As always, I have some great stuff in store for you today, so let's get to it. So right now we're picking up on a conversation we started with our last episode of Savvy Ventures, connecting with Julia Haart. She's the star of the Netflix series, My Unorthodox Life, but she's also an entrepreneur and an author and a designer and a women's health advocate. She's into so many things. And in the last episode, we learned all about her new plus body luxury shapewear line, which I have to tell you is absolutely gorgeous and amazing and really innovative. But in this episode, we're picking up on that conversation. We're going to hear about her charity work, her book Brazen, her experience leaving the fundamentalist community when she was 42, and how that's affected not only herself, her children, but also other people in the world, her fans, but really other people that she has just helped and moved in a very profound way. So it's an excellent conversation, and we'll just pick right up with where we left off last week. So what's your vision for the brand? I mean, you're not a small thinker. We all know that. So, is this the first of other lines to come? I mean, what's your end game? What's your bigger picture vision for this?
I like how you think. I see we think very similarly, and you're correct. This is part one. Part two will launch probably at the end of next year. I've created shapewear swimwear.
Oh, of course.
So imagine, because think about it. Regular shapewear can only be beige, white, and black, right? So you can't make swimwear that's shapewear. There are swimwears that say lightly smoothing, that's got a lot of, elastin in it, or, Lycra or whatever it is. So there are things that will suck you in a little bit, but they don't call themselves shapewear because they can't. It's not a compression garment. With this technology, since you can't tell it's shapewear and you can color and pattern it, it will look like swimwear. It will feel like swimwear. It'll be as thin as swimwear. It'll be as patterned as swimwear, but it will suck you in every direction. So imagine little booty shorts, right? That cover your ass, pop up your butt, squeeze in your thighs, but they look like a bathing suit. Like think Halle Berry from, what's it called? James Bond movie. And then you've got little tankinis. And what do those tankinis do? It looks like a normal swimsuit tankini, except it's going to suck in your waist, pop up your breast, flatten your stomach. And here you are. And $8 billion worth of women wear shapewear. So it's a pretty big market when you think about swimwear. Like I may not wear shapewear, but I will be wearing my own swimwear because even I'm shy by the pool. I never know. Maybe there's something floating around. I don't know. I feel uncomfortable. I'm always wearing a cover up. Here, for the first time, I'll be able to wear a bathing suit without anything else because I know that everything is covered, hidden, and made to look absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
So basically what I thought to myself is, what are the 3 times in a woman's life when she's most insecure about her body? When someone is undressing her, when she's by the pool or the beach, or when she's at the gym. So this brand will encompass all of them. First is the shapewear. Then we're going to have shapewear swimwear. And then we're going to have athleisure. It's going to look like, any leggings and tank tops. So you never know the difference. But if you think about it, when you exercise, having compression actually is good for you, right? Athletes exercise with compression all the time. But of course, you're not walking into an equinox in a Spanx.
Yeah.
It's ugly, right? But imagine if your leggings and your tank top sucked you in every direction, but look like a Lululemon or some other brand of, right? So we base this brand will encompass every time in a woman's life when she feels insecure and uncomfortable. We're here to say you are the absolute best version of who you want to be, and we're here to help.
And I love that. And it's just so poetic and true to your brand, true to who you are as a human being, that you're reverse engineering your business, your wealth, your success, but it's all solving problems for women with respect to insecurity and self-confidence. And, the fact that these are the problems you're trying to solve in this world, and to do it in just such a innovative, meaningful way and with such passion. It's so perfect for you. This evolution and swimwear and gym gear, like I'm all about all of it. So timing wise, is that ahead of bikini season next year or?
No, I think because, we basically invent as we go along. So we just got like our first prototypes. They're unbelievable. I don't want to show them yet because we'll do that closer to. So I'm going to guess it'll be more for resort next year. So think November, like September, October, that's when it will come out.
All right. In time for holiday gifting. That's pretty
good.
That's
right. In time for holidays, when you're going away for Christmas or New Year, or you have some other vacation planned, you're going to want to bring this with you because it'll be the first time you go to a pool and you don't need a cover up.
All right. So speaking of your big heart and your good works, I do know you're heavily involved in charity work as well, including initiatives relating to Rwanda and Ukraine. So tell us a bit about that.
So tomorrow, actually, I leave to Ukraine and I'm going straight from Ukraine to Rwanda. So this is my second visit to Ukraine. The first one, I did it with an ambulance corps. And we drove a bunch of ambulances all the way up to the front lines in Bakhmut, like where we narrowly escaped death 1 or 2 times. So that was interesting. But we were literally in Bakhmut, like when, the bombs were going off and the missiles and all that stuff. But we brought a lot of medical supplies and ambulances and IFAX kits and lighting that didn't require energy, that was solar powered, that you could also charge your phone to. We brought all these things to the front lines. And I met the most incredible people. And to me, people always say, but you're not Ukrainian. Why are you going there? Why can't you just donate money like everyone else? Because I have fought for my freedom. I'm still fighting for my freedom. And I don't take freedom for granted. And now what did I give up? I gave up my family. I gave up my community. I gave up my friends. I gave up everything I knew. Ukrainians are giving up their lives, their homes, their businesses. They're so far ahead of that. So how can I not help what to me are the freedom fighters of our time? Because I may have given up friends and family. They're giving up, literally, they're putting their lives on the line. And so when I went there, I was just blown away and so moved. So now I'm going back tomorrow, and I'm going with this extraordinary woman named Mitzi Perdue from Purdue Chicken. And we are opening a women's shelter. I think it's one of the first women's shelters in Ukraine because, as you know, when you have war, you have a lot of women who are sexually abused or kidnapped or harassed, and they have nowhere to go. So we're opening up a women's shelter in Ukraine. We're bringing police boats to help, protect the sea. And I'm actually walking a landmine, hopefully not blowing myself up, walking a landmine to bring exposure to the fact that 45% currently of agricultural land in Ukraine, and don't forget that Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe and parts of Asia and parts of Africa, 45% of it is untouched right now because the Russians have planted landmines. And so we're going to bring awareness to that by going into one of these areas and hopefully, diffusing some landmines and showing people what's like. And then from there, I go to, and we're also meeting with formerly kidnapped children. We're involved in this organization that literally finds kidnapped children and brings them back because it's a tremendous epidemic right now. So we're going to meet with some kidnapped children and hear their stories. And then from there, I go straight to Rwanda, where I'll be going from remote village to remote village, handing out menstrual cups to women who literally cannot go to school or cannot go to work, because when they menstruate, they have no way of protecting themselves. So they're literally forced to stay home. We sound so crazy, like you don't think about it. But if you don't have a maxi pad, you don't have anything, what are you supposed to do? In most of these places, there's no paper. There's no paper towels. It's bark, right? So we're coming in, we're giving people menstrual cups that can be reused over and over and over again so that they can go back to school, so that they can go back to work and not be forced to stay home when they're menstruating.
Well, it's all meaningful work. And I just commend you for not just donating money, which would be easy enough. I mean, you really put yourself on the front line. In your best-selling memoir titled Brazen, which you're famed for writing with radical vulnerability and honesty, you share deeply personal your journey of heartbreak and resilience and courage to flee from a fundamentalist community, which you left at age 42. So how are you using that experience to drive positive change in the world? You obviously just, spoke about your charity work, but for women specifically, but not even just women. I mean, people generally, how are you using that oppression, that experience to just leave a better legacy behind?
I've learned that a story changes the world. You can't preach to people. You can't convince people. They need to see, they need to understand. And, when I left my community, there were stories that shaped me, books that shaped me. Like 3 in particular, one written by an Iranian woman who was a professor of English literature, pre-Ayatollah Khomeini and post-Ayatollah Khomeini. It's called Reading Lolita in Tehran, as an example. And when I read her book, and she describes her experience in Ayatollah Khomeini, Iran, where she was chased through the halls as a teacher because she forgot to take off her red nail polish. And I have a picture of myself in the yearbook. They put it in the yearbook as a warning to other students, because our yearbook picture is a photo that's used. So think like 1800s, right? Our yearbook picture is a photo that's used to and sent to prospective husbands. Okay. Now you can imagine, do you remember what you look like in 12th grade? Now imagine if you're not allowed to wear makeup, if you have to cover up yourself head to toe, right? So I knew this was the picture that was going to go to all my prospective husbands. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try and find a way to sneak and wear mascara. Terrible, I know. Evil woman. And of course I get caught. And they put a picture of the teacher taking the mascara off my lashes into the yearbook as a warning to other students never to try such a crazy thing. So when I read the story about her being chased through the halls for wearing nail polish, and then I thought about my experience, I realized it's all the same. It isn't about Judaism, it isn't about Islam, it isn't about Mormon, it's about fundamentalism. When you take any religion to this extreme, and honestly, I think religions are beautiful. I love being Jewish. I'm proud of being a Jew. I think the Jewish religion is magnificent. But when you go to the extreme, when you go to the fundamentalism aspect of it, when little boys from the time they're old enough to speak until the day they die say every morning, thank you, God, for not making me a woman. When you're told as a woman that a father who educates his daughter is teaching her prostitution, and you're told to be quiet and shut up, and listen to your husband, and be a good wife, that's not religion. That's control. Yeah. And I think that as extreme as my story is, you'd be really surprised how many women in one way or another have experienced something in that guise, whether it's because they live in extremist religions. My show, we get the statistics of like which country saw it, what number. We were #1 in Lebanon.
Oh, wow.
Lebanon. Why? Because it's all the same. They connected to me. They're living that same, closed existence of, if you're a woman, your job is wife and mother. We need stories. Think about religion. What is religion in the end? It's a story. Stories change the world. Stories capture people's imaginations, and it gives them hope that they can change their lives. And so since between the show and the book has come out, we received literally hundreds of thousands, and I'm collecting them, and one day maybe I'll make them into a book or something. Hundreds and thousands of mostly DMs, but also some like literally posted handwritten letters from people from all over the world, from New Zealand, from Rwanda, from South America, from the Middle East, of women telling us they've seen the show or they read the book and they left an abusive relationship. They started their own company. They followed their dreams. I think the two that moved me the most were, one was a handwritten letter and one was a DM. And both these women told me that they had been planning on committing suicide. And after they saw the show, they chose life. And so when you think about that, then all the other craziness and all the rest is worth it, because in the end, the reason I told my story is because I think that my story will inspire other women to write theirs, whether it's on a piece of paper or to live their story. It's a story that I hope can inspire others.
Yeah, and clearly, and for you to know that your experience and you sharing, you're so revealing, you're so raw, you just put your stuff out there, and people, that's why they connect with you, and we all connect with you and love you for that. But just to know, by virtue of receiving these communications and letters, that you have saved lives and have had that impact.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, is there any, there's no better legacy to leave in this world. And sort of on that note, a couple things from other interviews you've done, just, you had mentioned that Miriam had saved your life. So, and that was just such a profound, deep statement. So like, what did you mean by that?
So twice, actually. So she's really the beginning and end of my personal exodus. So, my entire life in my community, there have been this dichotomy between who I am as an individual and who I was told I had to be loved by God, right? I'm naturally curious. I love learning. I am an intellectual. I'm fascinated by literally everything. I'm a voracious reader. And I'm not quiet, and I'm not shy, and I'm not demure. None of those things. And yet I was told that to be loved by God, to fulfill my purpose on earth, I was supposed to be quiet and demure and silent and uneducated. I had bookshelves of books in my home. And we're not talking about secular literature. I'm not talking about Tolstoy, Dostoevsky. I'm talking about Rabbi this or the Maharal or the Talmud and the Gemara. I'm talking about the religious books that governed our lives. I wasn't allowed to read that. I got in trouble all the time, not because I did anything bad, but because I educated myself. I read books I wasn't allowed to. And so, but they had convinced me that I was flawed, that the problem was mine, because all the other women around me were happy, having babies and listening to their husbands and being in the kitchen and all that stuff. And so what was wrong with me that wasn't enough? And then when Miriam was around 7, 8, 9 years old, she wanted to play soccer. Now this is a kid who's won the Spartan race twice. Not just, Spartan, where it's not just running, it's also like obstacle course and whatever. Not just for her age group, but for all women. I mean, she's an incredibly, athletic person. She's very strong. And so when she was around 7, 8, or 9, she goes to my husband and says, I want to play soccer. And my husband said, sure, you can. And she asked why. And he said, well, you're not allowed to wear pants, so you're going to have to play soccer in a skirt. If you play soccer in a skirt, you're going to run around, you're going to kick a ball, your skirt's going to go up. A man walking by the field may see your knees and have inappropriate sexual thoughts about you. Now, let's not talk about the kind of man that gets turned on by an 8-year-old's knees. Let's leave that alone for a minute. So my little daughter looks at him and says, okay, so if I'm responsible for his thoughts, is he responsible for mine? And to hear this little child say these words, they could not convince me that she was bad, because she'd never heard it from me. And she was a kid, a little child, first grade, somewhere around there. To hear those words from someone that young, it was mind-blowing. And I was like, yeah, what she said. And for the first time, I realized it wasn't me, it was the community. And so she gave me permission to decide I went out. So she's the beginning of my exodus. And then, it took me 8 years, right? Because people always say, oh, but you watched TV in the community. Yes. Last 8 years before I left, I did. I had to educate myself. I read books, I watched movies and television and all this stuff. And I really prepared myself as much as I could for the outside world, because it was basically time travel. I was living an 18th century existence. I didn't know that women were allowed to live alone. Women in my community do not live alone. They go from their father's house to their husband's house, just like in the 1800s. And when I, saw Sex and the City for the first time, I was 35 years old. Forget about the fact that the vibrator blew my mind. What really blew my mind was that they all lived by themselves in an apartment that they rented on their own. I was like, wow, that is so cool. And so she's the beginning. She gave me permission to say no more. But then, okay, I prepared, I educated myself, I read books, I became a voracious reader, I watched movies, I made money, I worked for MetLife under the table, all this kind of stuff. But then when push came to shove, I was still too scared to go. I was. It was the only world I knew. I didn't know anyone in the outside world. I was 42 years old. I had nothing and no one. And I knew that I'd be walking into what to me would be Mars, right? I'd never gone to a prom. I'd never been to a bar. I'd never gone on a date. Nothing like your normal existence. I hadn't lived that. So it's very frightening. And it means, and that the minute you leave, no one's ever going to talk to you again. My parents haven't spoken to me in 10 years. My siblings don't speak to me. And so I couldn't do it. I was too scared. And I decided I was going to commit suicide. And I had to figure out a way to commit suicide that people wouldn't realize it was suicide, because, just like again in the 1800s, if your mother commits suicide, no one's going to marry you, right? I would have destroyed my children's chance at a good marriage, because again, that's all you have. As a woman, all you get is a good marriage. And so I didn't want to ruin my children's chance at a happy life. And so I figured, okay, if I starve myself to death, people will just think I have an eating disorder and that I'm not trying to commit suicide, because eating disorders don't have that same stigma. Eating disorders like, oh, good, she'll be skinny after she has 20 babies. Like, nobody cares. Well, I don't want to say nobody cares, but it's not as much of a stigma. So I literally started starving myself to death. And I was down, if I tell you the weight, you'd literally fall off your chair. I was skeletal. And then one day my daughter comes home and she's crying hysterically because she was accused of cheating, because her answers were too good and it's not possible that a girl could have written them, literally. And that night it hit me that I'm being incredibly selfish, because yes, suicide may end my pain, but she's going to be 42 and she's going to be as miserable and unhappy as I was. So literally the next morning I packed my stuff and we walked out the door. So she literally saved my life.
Well, the power of the kids to be that catalyst, that extra push, that sort of, it's not even your survival that matters or becomes the priority. You are projecting theirs and their future and their experience. Yeah. And that's what got you out the door. Wow.
Yeah, and imagine, she graduated Stanford University. She's the youngest person in Stanford to ever give a class. She gave a class on augmented reality as a freshman. She didn't own a computer or had ever seen a computer until she was 13 years old. And she's a lesbian, right? So if I hadn't left, she would have been married off at 19. She certainly wouldn't have gone to Stanford. She certainly wouldn't be with women. She'd be on baby number 3 or 4, like everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, the sacrifices you've made and how they're benefiting the children, I mean, just it's immeasurable. I mean, even just those few things you mentioned. And, congratulations to you. I know your son is COO of your company. So all your kids, they're all thriving and doing amazing. And I just can't thank you enough for coming on the show, spending your time, your insights, your heart. It's all just so valuable. You're truly an inspiration as a business person, a mother, a woman looking to leave this world better than she found it. So thanks again for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really, really enjoyed it.
Definitely check out her website and her socials, bodybyjuliahaart.com or hashtag bodybyjuliahaart. That's her Instagram handle as well. Heart has 2 A's, which everybody knows. So check it out, Body by Julia Haart. Okay, everyone, don't go away, because on the other side of this short break, we're dishing with a Bravo TV housewife. So stay tuned.
Hi, Merilee, Maria Menounos here. Hope you're having a great day. Your friends have said that you're very sharing, and I think that's kind of everything that I love and I do every single day as well. I love sharing information and sharing knowledge. I heard you'd love to wine and dine and travel, so hopefully you're able to do a little bit more of that now that COVID is easing up a bit. And I hear you're very thoughtful as well. You sound like somebody that I would love to be friends with. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Keep punching, as Rocky says. It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And keep up the good work. It sounds like you're on the right path. And I hope you have an incredible day and an incredible life. Bye.
Over 50 million in prizes paid, more than 4 million pounds lost.
I'm global health and fitness expert Jillian Michaels, and I love Healthy Wager. It's a great way to lose weight by motivating you with big cash prizes. Get paid in real cash up to $10,000. Diets alone don't keep most people motivated, but with Healthy Wager participants, they often lose 30, 50, 100 pounds or more. Healthy Wager is the ultimate solution.
Welcome back to the Savvy Ventures Show with Merilee Kern.
Hello and welcome back to Savvy Ventures, where we often connect with celebrities, including some who are branching out into other endeavors, which leads me to my next guest, who I'm too excited to connect with. Joining us today is Kara Alloway, a reality TV producer and participant known as the villain on Bravo TV's Real Housewives of Toronto. She's also author of a new fiction novel released earlier this year titled Most Hated, which is a perfect summer read while you're lounging in the sun this season. And fellow housewives apparently agree, as the back cover of the book features thumbs up reviews from Real Housewives like Vicki Gunvalson, Jill Zarin, and Kathy Hilton. So Kara is here to tell us all about the book and more. Hi, Kara. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So first, I want to read a description of the book from the inside flap, which is a great synopsis of what readers can expect with this story. Okay, the inside flap reads, in the merciless world of reality TV, 6 women try to change their lives, but end up with far more than they bargained for. Zoe, the producer, wants the show to succeed at all costs, while Dahlia Irvine is married to a sports superstar and hopes the show will be her chance to have a career all her own. And Sabrina, better known as the Countess of Controversy, is looking for redemption. Her life has come crashing down around her and she needs a win. For the women working behind and in front of the cameras, one will end up the most hated. It's all in the name of great entertainment, but when real life blends with reality television, no one comes out unscathed. All right, so first, what prompted you to write a story of this particular nature? And really the obvious question to ask is it really all fiction, or are there some facts weaved in there relative to situations or circumstances that actually happened?
Well, that's a good question. That's the $1 million question. So what prompted me to write the story? So it is fiction. It's a story. I'm so fast to say it's a light backyard cottage beach summer read. There are layers to the story. So I do get into, some issues with female relationships, but it's light. And what prompted me was I always wanted to write a book dealing with female relationships, to tell you the truth. I went to an all-girls school. I come from a very female-centric family in the sense that, I'm from a family of daughters. My cousins are mainly female, without any offense to my father, rest in peace, or my uncles. We are pretty much a matriarchal family. My aunts and my mom rule the roost. They plan everything. And I was always fascinated by the female relationships, the way I got along with my cousins, the way my sister and I interacted, even the way my mom interacted with her female friends. It always just fascinated me. So I knew that was going to be the book I would write. I just didn't know what the backdrop was. And then when I signed up for Real Housewives of Toronto, I said, no, this has got to be it. This is like such a great backdrop for a story of females, interacting on camera as well as off camera. And then to answer your $1 million question, the emotions and the feelings that I experienced when I was filming the show definitely fed the narrative and the character development within the pages of the book, for sure, 100%. Aside from that, there might be some situations people might think, oh, wait a second, I think that's from Housewives, but the characters are 100% fictitious. There's no character, you know, I have people saying to me, oh, well, who's Mariana, or who's Lexi supposed to be? And there are no characters that are similar to Housewives or represent Housewives, past or present whatsoever. I cast my book as I would cast a reality television show. I said, who would I want to see in the pages and on the screen of my reality television show?
Yeah, and I was going to ask that question actually about character development, you know, whether there were any housewives that we would be able to recognize, really in terms of not literal, but maybe drawing those parallels, and really people are going to infuse, you know, their own thoughts into that, or project, or whatever they're going to do. But so tell us about your backstory, really, and the journey that led you to be part of the Real Housewives franchise in the first place. And, you know, we always want to know, was it fun? Was it a worthwhile adventure? Do you have any regrets? You know, what was just that whole experience like?
It's funny, when I wrapped the show, I had a lawyer I was working with, and I said, I don't know what to say when people say, like, do you want to do a season 2, or was it fun or anything? And he said, why don't you just say, well, it's interesting, but I'm glad it's over. So that became my line. I would say, well, it's interesting, but I'm glad it's over. So I always wanted, I'm a storyteller. So I always wanted to tell stories. I was a mom, and I was a stay-at-home mom for a good 12, 13 years as my young boys were growing up. I was doing the hockey, I was doing the swimming, I was doing the gymnastics. I did, you know, all those driving around activities, after school pickup, and I loved it. I do not regret that at all. It's for some people, it's not for other people. If it's for you and you love it, great, thrive in that environment. But there came a point where I sort of said to my husband, well, you know, I've done this, and I kind of want to do something of my own. I had put my career on the back burner. My career in journalism, I had put that on the back burner because I really didn't feel like I could do that well and to excellence while I was being a mom. I was doing a little bit of freelance writing. After I had put the kids to bed, I'd go up to my room upstairs and, you know, write an article or something at maybe 11:30 at night. So I was still keeping a hand in it. But I said to my husband, I think I would like to produce a reality television show. And he was like, tell me more. And I said, well, look, I've done a lot of volunteering with these charity events, and I've watched Million Dollar Listing, and I think there could be something there, because these charity event organizers are such huge characters, and they go to each other's events, and then the organic conflict that happens at the events, I think it could be like Million Dollar Listing meets, you know, My Sweet 16 or something like that. With, you know, when you put a slip and slide carpet in March in Canada, or a red carpet, it turns into a slip and slide. So my husband said, well, you know, I know nothing about this, but go for it and good luck to you. So I contacted a production company and I said, you know, this is my idea. And their reply was, well, it's interesting and we'll keep that in mind, but here's something for you to consider. We're doing Real Housewives of Toronto. And what if you came on the show and then the show became like your sizzle and you did your idea for this reality charity event show as a spinoff? And I thought, well, I don't really want to be on the show. I want to produce the show. But then again, I was thinking, you know, they said this is a good way in. It's a side door entry. And I thought, you know what? I'm willing to try anything once. I had girlfriends who were on franchise in New York and in Beverly Hills. I had been around when they were filming. It looked like it was kind of fun. I did remember the anxiety. I can remember my girlfriend talking to me on the phone who was on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And she said, the anxiety is choking me out. And I remember thinking, but what if you're careful with what you say and you interact with people as yourself? I could not understand that. And I don't think you can understand that until you are a participant and you have all these things going on at the same time. You're being filmed. So you are conscious of how you look. You're interacting with these other people, both on a real basis, as well as you're conscious of what the camera, you know, is going to, and what the verbiage that you're saying and delivering is going to be picked up. So, you know, I said, I'll try anything once. Why not? So here we go. And I signed up and I did it. And they sold it to me saying, you know, Lisa Vanderpump, she did Beverly Hills, and then Vanderpump Rules was the spinoff. So I just sort of thought, okay, like, why not? Why not try it? Oh, famous last words.
So are you going to next lean into the production company and the production side of things with that project, or maybe even others?
Yes. So happy ending to that story. After Housewives did wrap, I went to Los Angeles and I had a girlfriend who was the executive vice president at a very big agency there that represents producers and writers. And she said, okay, your sob story, this didn't turn out how you wanted. At the end of the day, what is it that you want, Karen? I said, I just want to produce this show. And she went, done. So she connected me with an agent. We shot a sizzle for my show. We decided to shoot it in Dallas because Dallas is the fundraising capital of the world. We called it Dallas Planners Club. We went out. We actually sold it to a production company who said, this is a great idea for a show. We love this. They got it. And then COVID hit. So we are back on the trails again. I know it was events. It was, everything that COVID would not allow. So we're back selling it again to various networks and doing our pitch. We're probably going to shoot a new sizzle, which, we're sort of massaging right now. In the meantime, that production company was purchased by another production company. So we sort of have to rewind and start a little, but I have 2 other shows that are also in the works. And you know what? Someone once told me, you walk into a room in a production company, you pitch one show, you pitch your second show, and sometimes they pick up on your third show because they do always say, what else you got? What else you got? They love to say that. So I'm out there pitching, I'm out there selling, and that's what I love. I'm out there telling stories both through my novel as well as through that opportunity.
I love it. And you're out there hustling and you're going to make that dream happen. But did you get the author bug? And is this going to be sort of a franchise? And will there be just a continuation of the story basically with other releases ahead?
I did get the author bug. I have to tell you, it's so, peaks and valleys. You finish the book and you're relieved. And then you realize, well, actually, that's just the beginning and all of this. But I really do enjoy the process. I enjoy connecting with readers. I cannot tell you how much I enjoy that. Hearing what different people get out of the novel, hearing what it evokes in them, hearing their stories, saying, oh, I could so relate because this happened to me with my girlfriend and I was so frustrated, or this happened to me with another woman and I didn't know how to handle it or unravel it. And hearing all of that, I love. I've started work on a prequel because I thought everybody expects a sequel. But what about a prequel? What if we went back and saw, who were these people before they became these characters? So I've started work on that, and for sure there is going to be more.
Oh, I love it. I'm all about it. And, just on a personal level, I love that kind of your inspiration came from your experience in this matriarchal family, because that's actually how mine is too. So yeah, the dynamics of female relationships, whether they're blood relationships or friends, it's just such rich fodder and content. So, it's just a great premise for a book. Super fun book to read, definitely over the summer, but even beyond. You got the holidays coming up. So I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing with us about it today. Where can folks go, to learn more about you, to pick up a copy, all that good stuff?
So my website is very easy. It's my name, karaalloway.com. The book is for sale on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Chapters Indigo, on all their social or their digital platforms, as well as in the bricks and mortar stores and many, many independent bookstores across North America, the UK, and Australia. I love the independent bookstores. They have been so supportive of me. So a huge shout out. If you go to your independent bookstore, ask them to order Most Hated. They'll order it in, and support your local independent bookstore. This message brought to you by.
It's an important point. And those independent booksellers, sometimes you can get things through them that you can't get elsewhere, or faster, or like you say, they're willing to, go above and beyond to get you what you want. So actually, I think that's a great point to mention. Well, thank you so very much for coming on the show today. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
And again, to learn more about Kara and the book, just go to karaalloway.com. All right, everyone, stick around, because after this quick break, we're talking travel, so don't go away.
Hey Merilee, it's Brooke Burke. I'm checking in with you. I'm on location. Look at this beautiful destination. I had to share it with you because I know you're all about savvy living and staying fit and living your best life. I love what you're doing for everyone. Your gift ideas are so helpful, and your destination recommendations, amazing. I thought you'd really, really love this. I'm sending you so much love from the DR. Wish you were here. Let's stay connected and keep doing it. It's great stuff. Bye, Merilee.
New Salonpas Lidocaine Flex. Maximum OTC strength. Super thin. Flexible. Contours to the body. So it really, really sticks. Salonpas. It's good medicine.
Welcome back to the Savvy Ventures Show with Merilee Kern.
Hello and welcome back to Savvy Ventures, where we not only chat with celebs and recording artists and power player executives, but we also showcase amazing travel destinations, and I have some great finds for you today. So buckle up and away we go. Boatsetter knows life is better on the water and makes it easy for everyone to enjoy on-the-water experiences. This peer-to-peer boat rental company has more than 50,000 boat listings available in over 700 locations worldwide, making it easily accessible no matter your location. Renters can find over 20,000 different makes and models available to rent in a variety of styles and sizes, from family-friendly pontoons to sailboats and luxury yachts. No matter your level of experience on the water, Boatsetter makes it easy to discover and enjoy a wide variety of experiences by connecting qualified renters directly to boat owners and licensed captains. The company has the largest database of U.S. Coast Guard certified captains, making it possible for those with no prior boating experience to get out and enjoy the water. Boatsetter is also the world's only legally compliant and insured peer-to-peer boat rental. Plus, it offers a free on-water beginner's boating course dedicated to teaching new boaters about the fundamentals of operating a boat. There are a variety of experiences to choose from, like bachelor and bachelorette parties to sunset cruises, sandbar hopping, renting a catamaran, party boat or yacht, or even a fishing charter. Boatsetter brings friends and family together on all bodies of water, oceans, bays, and inland lakes and rivers. Renters can expect local knowledge of the waterways, with owners delivering unique itineraries and recommendations for local restaurants, sandbars, party coves, things to do, and places to see. And Boatsetter doesn't just serve those looking to rent a water experience. The company is creating an entirely new industry within the sharing economy, helping thousands of boat owners in the process of becoming entrepreneurs. Learn more at boatsetter.com. Well, that was another information-packed, really fun show, and I'm so glad that you guys listened in. All right, everyone, that's it for this episode of Savvy Ventures. If you missed any part of today's show or just want to listen to any part of it again, just go to savvyventures.tv. You can also connect with me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at Merilee Kern. Until next time, remember that everything begins with an idea.
Thank you for listening to the Savvy Ventures Show with Merilee Kern, connecting you with noteworthy industry changemakers, movers, shakers, and innovators from around the world. Plus, travel and shopping hot picks and so much more. Follow us on social at Merilee Kern.